we have been playing in the past, that is the youth, when it comes to politics and the role they are likely to play in 2023. We have been seeing them all about. A whole lot of them are in groups and associations that have been clamoring for one candidate or the other, saying they are in support, showing their support for one bid or the other. So the youth definitely are actually actively involved as we continue to navigate our ways to 2023 elections. So we are looking at Nigerians' youth and the politics of 2023. We have two wonderful guests in-house. We have first a lecturer in the Federal College of Education who is also a youth advocate from the French department, Mr. Latif Lamidi. Bonjour.
Bonjour, monsieur.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, the second guest is a youth developer, and of course, who knows so much about the youth and what they are capable of doing or not doing. Coach Wale Adejuigbe, you're welcome to the program as well.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Tunji?
All right. Well, it's a good way to start. When you were introducing yourself, you said we were at a point, and I was wondering, Akim.
No, then I took it back.
So, now let's take it off from that. Or let's just go frontal. How prepared do you think the youths are for the 2023 elections? Okay, let me begin with the Alaji. Yeah.
Instagram and care is not taking. You can be depressed as a young man. That was not the way it was before. When you see the way young people throw money in parties and they video it and it was allowed. When you see the way a lot of things happened, and we see the effect of all those things. We see it happening every time. So I would like to start from the governance nature, the structure of the political landscape in Nigeria.
Okay.
A young man cannot wake up right now and decide that he wants to run for an office, even though we have not too young to run policy. And then you just walk in, and then you want to use your creativity, you want to use everything. The way it has been structured and the way things are going on currently is very overwhelming for a young man or for a young lady that wants to contest. There is no public confidence in the first place. Everybody feels that we are too young to be able to handle the mandate or to be able to make things, change things. I was expecting that there was going to be a force after EndSARS. I was expecting that there's going to be a force of young people coming together and saying that, yes, we are creating a third alternative. Because as it is right now, we don't have a third alternative. And we are supposed to have.
Do we have a second alternative? Do we have an alternative before we have?
That has been the battle for a very long time. When we see that it's always between two parties. Yes. And as we have it right now, it is still between two parties. However, even if we don't have a third alternative, I think the party structure should be able to allow the young people that are also very vibrant to come on. And I'm going to talk about it this way, sir. There was a time I was sitting with some young people and we were discussing, because one of the things we discover also is that part of the problem of young people in politics is that there is no political ideology for a young man. There is no education that a young man has that wants to make him confidently says that I want to run for an office. And then we were seated and we were talking, and then I said, which local government are you from? The person told me that he's from a local government, and I said, who is your local government chairman? We didn't know.
He doesn't know. He wouldn't know, and he can't know.
He can't know. Because now, that's the reason why young people that want to vie for office right now is going straight for the office of presidency. And when they go for the office of presidency, everybody say, what are you looking for then? Is that the way you are supposed to start? I think you are supposed to start from the grassroots. Now, from the grassroots, who is the local government chairman? Who is the councillor? There was no empowerment. We have a centralized system of power. And that's the reason why a lot of people are focusing on the presidency. It looks as if that's the only vacant position right now. Everybody is going for that. So a young man sits in himself or herself, a young lady, and he's looking at, okay, how do I make a change? I want to run for office. Which office can I run for? And then I will be relevant. If I come in under maybe APC or PDP right now, where is the place that I can work and there is autonomy for me to exercise my creativity and to exercise my mental strength, just like he has said. But when you look at it, there is nothing like that. I mean, we have a nation that we are on 6 geopolitical zone and it's not in the constitution.
Alhaji, if care is okay, let me just say the situation is designed to push the youth aside, looking at what is happening in various political parties. Sure. Where I think, or where many people think they need them for, is to do the dirty job. Mobilize them with little coins.
Coins, yes.
So that you support whatever candidate you want to support, or you shout against whatever you don't want to shout. Yes. And if care is not taken, this could just be what is in it for the youth. But will you agree that even the system as it is has shut them out? So do you blame them?
I would rather say I don't blame them outrightly. Okay. Reason is that if you're talking about youth of nowadays, let me start from the illustration the other person made the other time, that during the military regime, people like Obasanjo and other our leaders then, they were youths when they have been doing wonderful things they did then. But immediately they know what is invoked with those things, and they are the ones still remaining in that position or leading. And they are the one redesigning those structure, either educational structure or what have you, or any other thing, for the upcoming generation. And whatever they have designed is what they are meeting. It's like training the younger ones. When you're telling them this is the right thing and you are doing the wrong thing, they will let based on experience. They look at what you are doing and they follow the suit. And that's why we are talking about going against corruption or going against all those sort of things nowadays. And you see people embezzling money and making it, finding their way out of their judiciary. And I think that they should shut up with that. And that's why I said, if the structure we are having is trying to push them aside, as you have said, it's trying to push them aside because that's what those people, they wanted initially. Because they build everything that will make sure that they still remain in power without allowing the upcoming generation. But my fear is that they are fading away gradually. Either they are still existing in terms of physical appearance or what have you, but with their thinking, with their way of reasoning, they are fading away. And what will happen to the generation? What will happen to this nation at the end of the day? The youth that was supposed to build, they said, whatever you don't want to go into extinction, it will allow the younger ones to come into to near that thing. But if you want things to go to the extinction, you chase them away, and that's what's happening now. That is why we are having two parties that are championing the cause. And if you see any youth gather themselves, I remember 2019, there are a lot of parties that youths formed, but what happened to those parties? Some, they will just buy the vibrant ones among them and invite them to their own party. Or even some, they will buy them with money. They will just shout them down. They will just lure them into many other things. And from there, and that is why I said the problem we are having is from the mental thinking. It's from our ways of reasoning. It's our way of judging things. Because the education we are expected to have, we don't have it. Do we really have focus on what to do? Do we have that seal? Ordinarily, God has created us to have those things. But when we came to this world, are we being prepared for that? Are we being trained for that? Look at our education, for example, now. ASU has been on strike for months now. And what would have happened to those students that have been on the streets? What they have been learning? Their brain will be retarding, either they like it or not.
Since you have talked about ASU, definitely when you talk about youth, a great percentage of Nigerian youth are in the higher institutions. Yes. And of course, they come under the aegis of NANS, National Association of Nigerian Students. These are also part of the youth we are talking about. And we know that somehow, they are also involved in politics, and they will also be involved as we continue to March 2023. Now, how do you describe them This moment, they're on the street protesting. No political activities must take place until ASU issue is resolved. The next moment, you see them not protesting this time around, but peaceful march, support of one candidate or the other. The same names. And these are the youth we are talking about. What do you make of this?
Thank you very much. When we have a society that everything works around money, you are going to have young people who will be ready to lose their conscience. And like I said earlier, when you are in an overwhelming environment, it's very easy to give up. It's very, very easy to give up. Obviously, it is very, very clear that the priority of the current government is not really on that education when it comes to that. Why? Because when ASU was bringing up the strike action, airline also did something in that category. So it took nothing less than 24 hours to stop everything that was going on in airline. And the reason is because of possibly the travels, the political travels, and every other thing. So why ASU had remained without resolution shouldn't have been something that we are talking about. So it is obvious that there are so many things that are on. So the students themselves knows that the way things are going, we should just give up and just sit down on one side. If fate comes, or if God just decides to favor us, the government will look into our matter, and then there will be a resolution. In that situation, you are going to have a young person who will, number one, is vulnerable. Secondly, because he's in school and there is no form of personal economy. Because that's one of the challenge about even the education that he's talking about. Education should not shut the ability of a student to be enterprising, to be able to make money. Personally, if I don't have money, I'm an attraction to bribery. If I don't have money, I can easily buy vote. I was somewhere and they said, does our vote count? I said, vote count. If it doesn't count, they won't buy vote.
That's true.
If it doesn't count, they won't buy vote. However, to make the vote count is not the challenge. To make the people that are voting vulnerable is the goal. Sure. So when you have a young person that is protesting that, oh, I really want to be in school. How many years am I going to spend in university? I want to be in school and I want to graduate on time so that I can move. And then the second minute, on a second thought, I feel there is nothing that I can do. No matter how much we shout, no matter the protest, no matter everything we do, it still boils down to the fact that we are still at home. The next minute, that energy during protest was assessed and analyzed by an aspirant. Said, if I channel this energy into my election, in my campaign, this is massive. Give them money. And because I am already, young people have energy. We do not only have mental strength, physical strength. We have mental strength. We have emotional strength. We have the agility to invoke certain emotion into people. And because of this, a lot of things are happening currently, which makes it look as if these things happening, ASU strike and some other things are doctored. So in this situation, a young man can really can fight to be in school, but when the young man economy is low and is free,
He's vulnerable.
he's idle. An idle man is devil's workshop.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, now let me take on Alhaji here. You are a youth advocate. And even when you look at the politics that student union government runs, you want to ask yourself, okay, is that not where everything has gone wrong? You know, I was in a meeting some time ago and we were talking about, the future of democracy in Nigeria, and they were talking about the youth. And I just said, and a sizable number of youths were in the hall, and I just said, even politicians have invaded universities. Sure. So much that even at student union government elections, they sponsor candidates,
Yeah.
So the bastardization now, is it not coming in? And then how can this issue, how can the youths be helped? You've been within that structure. It's like coach has said, there is no chance in the front, even if they want to. If you want 100 million now, if a youth gets 100 million, which youth, unless he's doing something else, which youth can mobilize 100 million? Even if it's for his local assembly, maybe House of Assembly thing, would they even give him chance? So the bottom line now is, how does a youth navigate through all of these things? The challenges are facing them in the face. The challenges are facing them, and they are, so what is the way out? How do we galvanize with all these challenges to help the youth?
Thank you very much. It's obvious. It's written all over the places. You can see that the problem we are facing about our political issue is also is within the youth as well. Because as you have said, that even the student union politics, they practice on the campuses. You see that most of these politicians, they also have say. They invade them. They will buy some, and they have their ways and candidates. And that's, the other problem I'm having with those things is that it's not that what is happening presently. It's because the thinking, their vision, their ways are very engineered. That's the problem. And that's why I'm having this fear that what will be the fate of this nation. Because these people that will come after this era, they are the one, they have really engineered their ways of thinking.
So how can we deal with, is there anything we can still do? Is there anything that can still be done?
Yes.
Or are we going to just leave the generation to waste?
We can't leave the generation to waste. And if the generation is wasting, what will happen to the next generation? And that is why some of us will not keep quiet. That is why some of us will not just fold our arms. That is why some of us will not just say, this thing has been, we have been pushed away. They have engineered their thinking. Then we should just be looking. But if you are patriotic enough and love this nation, you have to do what? You have to start from somewhere. And starting from somewhere is that you have to be giving, because ordinarily, as you have said, that if you call any youth or any young chap now, instead of them to have vision, instead of them to think straight, what they'll be thinking is all about money. And they want to have the words. They can't just have immediately. What is that we should start educating them time to time. That's number one. Number two is that wherever we find ourselves, some of this that is not more in our society, we should try to call them back. One of those things is that it is very sure that the structure of this country in all ramifications is faulty. I'll put that way. Be it education, be it politics, be it anything. The structure, we have to look at the structure, and if the structure is faulty, then which way do we pass? That's where we are important. But we continue, we have faith, we believe that by the time we start telling 2-3 people at your own locality, those 2 people we can go out as well to advocate for that. Oh, that's not even the best. Because if you look at what we celebrate nowadays about youth, they are not to think of. Because they encourage you to embark on all this kind of entertainment, kind of social. You will just be imagined. But then, it's not used to be like that.
But coach,
yes, sir.
During the NSAS,
yes,
the youths were able to galvanize themselves. Yes. That it was almost becoming, a force. But suddenly that thing just fizzled out.
Yes.
Can it be resurrected?
We can't resurrect it because it's an agitation. Nobody actually assumed power by agitation in a sustainable way. Okay. And the reason for this is because part of the young people that we galvanized together also went rogue. And then we began to see that the protest was hijacked. Touts came up, and then inevitably it was needed for the government to put some drastic measures. So that's what happens when there is agitation. We need a force that comes from education. We need something that brings us together, that says that, oh, this is the ideology of a 21st century, or this our generation. This is the political ideology. That's where the political education matters. And I'll give an example. An education currently that young people needs to be going about when it comes to politics is the massive participation in electoral process.
Okay.
The last Anambra State election, in a state that has over 5 million residents, only 1 million voters, only 1 million people had voters card, and the decision of that election was between maybe 200,000 or 250,000 people. How do you explain a population of 5 million people that has 200,000 people that decides who becomes the leader? We need to go against that, and it's going to come on the platform of education, where people, young people, need to see how because when you look at politics, even at the university level, sir, the mobilization, the advocacy, and the real education really needs to go from that angle.
Sure.
It is not only political science students that should qualify to be in politics. We need technocrats. We need medical doctors. We need pharmacists. We need people that already runs enterprise. Because when you look at it, the foundation of corruption itself is greed and lack of exposure to numbers.
Right, this is how we have to draw the curtain on this segment of the program. We very much enjoyed you, and also we know that one of these days you'll still be back again to talk about especially the role of youths as we continue to navigate towards 2023. But from what have been said, I know that what is wise enough, something is that's this normal proverb that little things is also, you should know that many things they have said are very, very, a word is good enough for the wise also. So the youth should actually know that it doesn't really matter where they push them. They own the nation and they are the future leaders, and if you don't grab the opportunity now, begin to actually lay a kind of advocacy or a kind of a policy for yourself, then the future of even those coming behind you it could be in jeopardy. That's how we draw the curtain. We've been looking at Nigerian youth and the politics of 2023. When we come back, another guest will join us.